through 14. You had numbers 1 through 10, and you had number 13, and I'm going to tell you the answers. For number 1, A is negative 4. For number 2, X is negative 18. For number 3, Y is negative 4. For number 4, M is negative 7. For number 5, X is 7. For number 6, A is negative 6. For number 7, Y is negative 2. For number 8, X is 7. For number 9, X is 5. For number 10, you should have gotten that A is also 5. And for number 13, that X is negative 8. Alright? Raise your hand if you want to see one of these worked out. Maybe you didn't get it right. You want to see it worked out. Alright, Elena? 13. Number 13. Okay. Alright, so for number 13, we have negative 3x minus 15 is equal to, I'm sorry, I am giving you the first step instead of copying the problem. Let's back up. We have negative 3 times x plus 5 is equal to 9. So you've got parentheses here. So we're going to distribute that negative 3 in order to remove parentheses. So we have negative 3 times x, which will be negative 3x. And then negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. And I'm going to bring down the 9. And to get x by itself, I need to add 15 to both sides. So I'm going to bring down negative 3x. Add these together because they are the same sign, and keep the sign. And then divide by negative 3. And we have that x is negative 8. Okay? Nate, did you need to see one of them? 10. Number 10. Okay? So we have negative 23 is equal to 12 minus 8a plus a. Alright? If you want to, you can turn that around and put the 12 minus 8a plus a on the left side and move that negative 23 to the right side. You don't have to do that, but if you prefer, then you can. Alright? We're going to combine our like terms together first. Alright? And I notice I have like terms right here because they both have an A. When you combine like terms, you're following your addition and subtraction rules. So these signs are different. So I'm going to subtract and keep the sign the larger number. That gives me negative 7a. That 12 is positive, so I'm going to bring that down as a plus 12. Okay? And then I will subtract 12. So I get negative 7a is equal to negative 35, because right here the signs are alike, so I add and keep the sign. And then divide by negative 7. So I get the a is positive 5. Okay. Anybody else want to see one? All right. Kalani? 9. Okay. So number 9, we have 3x plus 2 minus 4x plus 6 is equal to 3. Okay. So we need to combine all of our like terms together first. And I always start with my variables first. Okay? So combining means you follow your addition and subtraction rules. So this one's positive, this one's negative, so we're going to subtract, keep the sign of the larger number. That gives us a negative 1x, right? Or you could just write it as negative x. That's fine too. All right. Then I'm going to combine together those numbers only on one side. I noticed some of you were trying to combine that 3, but the reason why I draw that line is because on this side you're going to combine all your like terms together. When we get to the next unit, okay, not this one, but the next one, we're going to have some like terms on this side as well. And the rule is you only combine like terms together on this side, and you combine like terms together on that side. You only start crossing the line when you're adding and subtracting things on each side, or multiplying and dividing things on each side. So we're just going to combine that 2 and this 8 together. That's going to give me a positive 8 is equal to 3. So subtract 8 from each side. We'll bring down that negative 1x is equal to what? When I combine these, write negative 5. Alright, and then to finish up, I need to do what? Divide by negative 1. So that's how I get that x is a positive 5. Okay. Anybody else need to see one? Anybody? Number 14. Okay. Alright. I'm still going to do it, yeah. Okay. Because you still need to know how to do it. That's a little review problem there. 1 minus 3/2 x is equal to 4. So yeah, I didn't assign this one, but we can still review it. Okay. Alright, get rid of the number that's not attached to the x. That would be the 1, right? And that's a positive 1, so we have to subtract 1, don't we? Now that's a negative 3/2 x, because a minus in front of a number makes it negative. So I'm going to bring down that negative. And then here the signs are different, so I subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay? Good so far? Alright. Now when you bring that negative down, you can either make the top or the bottom negative, but don't make both negative. Okay? One or the other is negative. I like to take mine to the top. Now, to get rid of a fraction times a variable, we use the what? Reciprocal. Very good. Which is negative 2/3. And again, I just like to take my negative to the top. Okay? So all of this is gone. Alright. You can either cancel those 3's and say that the answer is negative 2. Or if you prefer, you can put the whole number 3 over 1 and do a little top times top, bottom times bottom, and then divide them out. But you see, you get the same thing as if you had just canceled those 3's, don't you? Okay, so either way that you want to do it is fine. Okay? Anybody else need to see one of the homework problems? Which one? 7? Okay, so we have 16 is equal to 2y minus 4y plus 24 plus 6y. Okay, I'm going to turn this around and put my variable on the left side. I really like having the variable on the left side because when we get to unit 6, we're going to do inequalities. That means it has less than and greater than. And inequalities are so much easier to understand if you leave your variable on the left side. So after unit 5A, we have unit 5B, and then we'll go to unit 6. And all through unit 5A and 5B, I'm going to be reminding you that getting that variable on the left side is going to make things a little bit easier for you. Okay? If you look at this, I notice that I have 3 terms this time that have a y, don't we? Okay? Just combine them 2 at a time. Now, what is 2 plus a negative 4? Negative 2, right? Negative 2y. Now, add the plus 6y. Right, you get 4y, don't you? Because this one's negative, this one's positive. So that gives you a positive 4y because you would have to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, so these three combine to give me 4y. I'm going to bring down the plus 24. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 24 from each side. Okay, signs are different. Subtract, keep the sign of the larger number. We get a negative 8. And then we're going to divide by 4 on each side. So y is negative 2. Okay? Alright. Now, in the video that you're watching today, today's video in Edpuzzle, it puts together parentheses using distributive property as well as like terms. And I'm just kind of making this up, so I'm not real sure how it's going to turn out. It might turn out to be a fraction, okay? But that's okay. Sometimes fractions happen, don't they? Okay? All right. So you're putting your distributive property and you're combining like terms together in the same problem, okay? That's why I gave you a review problem that had parentheses in it. But basically what you're going to do is start out by distributing because you always remove parentheses first. We're going to bring everything else down. And after you distribute, do you notice you end up with a problem just like you were doing for homework? Okay, so you combine your like terms together. And then you can solve it. And I do believe this is going to turn out to be a fraction, but it's not going to be a real ugly one. It's going to be actually one you can simplify a little bit. Okay. Be careful right here. A lot of students like to tell me that this answer is a positive 2, but it's not. What is it? Anybody know? If your top number is smaller than your bottom number, you don't end up with a whole number. You end up with a fraction, don't you? What does negative 2 over 4 simplify to be? Negative 2 over, right, positive 1/2. Not 2. Be careful. It's not a 2. 2 is wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. 1/2 is right, right, right. Okay? So that's the only thing that today's lesson is going to add in is distributive property. And once again, let me review. When you are using distributive property, then you follow your multiplication rules. When you are combining like terms, you follow your addition and subtraction rules. That's 2 sets of rules. And they're on your little yellow paper that I gave you, that I told you to tape inside of your binder, okay? So make sure you're following the correct rules, all right? And you only distribute on one side of the equal mark. You only combine like terms on one side of the equal mark, okay? The only time you do things on each side of the equal mark is if you're doing what you do to one side, you also do to the other. Like I added 6 over here, I had to do it over here, okay? All right, do y'all have any other questions before I let you stay on your own here? Okay.